Hi, so welcome to our first lesson of data science. So this is going to be a very long journey, a long class where we're going to dive more into data science. First, we'll learn Python programming. You're going to learn the skills in Python that are going to be needed in data science, okay? Then we do data visualization where we'll talk about data analytics, doing more of like data cleaning, plotting and visualizing data, right? Cleaning data, trying to find the trends that are happening in data or giving data set. Okay, and then we'll come to the climax of it, machine learning, where we'll do supervised and unsupervised machine learning. Okay, so the tools that we'll need for this particular class or this particular lesson is going to be Python. Like I said, I'm going to do everything in Python. Um, I'm gonna use something called Anaconda. If you are not familiar with these things, try to get Anaconda installed. I'm gonna go through it very quickly. Anaconda will come with its own Python IDs, the Jupyter Notebook, Spider, and then PyCharm. You choose any of these. Jupyter Notebook is easy to be used, and I would recommend that you use Jupyter Notebook, okay, or Spider. For PyCharm, is somehow commercial unless you have a student account that you can use the PyCharm. Okay, so I recommend we use that Jupyter Notebook or Spider. For this class, I'm going to use both Jupyter Notebook and PyCharm. Preferably, I'll be using PyCharm a little bit, like a lot more compared to the Jupyter Notebook. But like I said, everything you can do in PyCharm, you can do the same thing in Jupyter Notebook. Okay. Of course, if you're also a VS Code lover and then you are okay with coding or programming in VS Code, that's okay, right? Now let's go to um, the Anaconda, right? So to get Anaconda, you just search on your Google search bar Anaconda download. It will take you to this website. When you come here, click on that, and then provide your email to download the distribution. So whatever email you have, you just have to provide that, and then when you provide it, agree, provide your email, and when you submit they will send you a link for you to download the distribution. Okay, I have it already installed, so I'm not going to do that part, but just do that and they will give you the link to download. Okay, now what are some of the resources that we're going to use? You're going to use a resource called automate the boring stuff with Python. So with the Python programming, this is a resource you're going to use. I will link that in the description section in this video, where you can click on that link to take you to this part where you have this whole aspect of Python. So Python basis. So you click on that, it will take you to the basics in Python, what you're supposed to know in Python, read all these stuffs. Okay. Of course, I have these kind of videos to just guide you. When you go back, you're gonna have flowchart. So we'll talk about all these things. So this is gonna be the resource, one of the resources that we will use. Again, we're gonna use the Python documentation as well. So you just go to python.org, and that is this part, python.org, only that part, or maybe you can do docs.python.org /3/ again, and this is gonna take you here where you can go to tutorial. When you go to tutorial, it takes you through, I mean, everything, right? Almost all the bases that you need. So yeah, like I said, these are going to be the resources. So after you're done downloading Anaconda, I want to get us started. Okay, this is how it looks like when you install it based on your PC preference and you open it. You will not get PyCharm installed already, but I have it installed. The stuff that it will come by will be, like I said, let's use a Jupyter Notebook. Okay, it will come with a Jupyter Notebook. When you click on launch, it will take you, you open it using your preferred browser. So on my PC, I use Chrome. Okay, so I've set Chrome to be my preferred browser, and that when it opens, it's gonna come like this. Okay, so you have your Jupyter Notebook will open like this in Chrome, and this is not using internet. Okay, so don't worry if you don't have internet, but all that you have to do is get your Anaconda installed, open Anaconda, and then scroll through, you get to the Jupyter Notebook and then launch it. When you launch it, you're going to come to this place. Okay, it will come to this space, and maybe if you want to create a new folder, because I have a new folder on my desktop called data science. Okay, so you want to create that folder first on your desktop. So when you open your desktop, you can navigate to the data science lessons or data science folder, and in that you can create a new Jupyter notebook file or Jupyter file. Okay, so what you can do is go to new and then notebook, right? And then it opens a new Jupyter notebook. Um, if you have, if your notebook, if when it opens, it will give you some preferences and everything. Okay, so when the preference comes, just use what we call select the Python 3 point something. I'm sure, but I mean these things will come in and try to make sure that you set it to your preference. Okay, and you have your first line of code to write. Okay, so these are the results you're going to use, and that's how you get your Jupyter notebook started, or you get it set up. Okay, so I'm not going to talk much in this video. Let's write our first ever video, that's a video, first ever code for this particular Python. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Python, most often what we do is that we talk about our first code. Okay, so one thing about Python is that this print here command is to tell the Python that we want to see something out. Okay, so I'll talk about all these things, but just for now, just follow all that I'm writing here. I have print, open parentheses, then I have this quotes, right, open, and then in between these quotes, I'm gonna write my first code, right? When you hit run, it just gives you the output just like that. And that's the reason I want us to use Jupyter Notebook, because the output just come right under what you're supposed to do. So you can go ahead and write the rest if you want. You can write a lot of stuff. Okay, maybe this class is gonna be fun. Okay, all right, it's going to be fun. When you're done, hit on run, and then it gives you the output like that. Okay, so if you're a fan of PyCharm, which like I said, is it takes a different way of installing it and setting it up. I have it open. I'm going to use PyCharm here. When you first create open PyCharm, you have to create your first project and then set the interpreter here, the Python interpreter. You get to find your project that you're talking about. I created a project called Data Science Lessons, and then in the interpreter, you have to select Anaconda, because Anaconda will come with all the packages in Python that we need installed already. Okay, so when you are done with that and you want to create your first Python file, all you do is go to the project, right click on it, go to file, where is my Python file, and then the name of the Python file you want to call it, maybe first lesson. Okay, and then you hit enter, and then you have your first lesson open. So when we have the first lesson, we can also do the same thing like we did in Jupyter Notebook, print into my first code. Sorry. And when you run, one thing about this is that you run and then you have your output provided down here, right? That is my first code. So you realize this is a bit different from the Jupyter Notebook, and for you not to get confused a lot, all that you have to do is do everything in Jupyter Notebook. This looks a lot more clean and user friendly when it comes to just a beginner in Python. Okay, so yeah, this is our first video, or this is our first lesson on this data science journey. In our next lesson, we're going to talk more about Python. Okay, see you.